Perfect. This is Start to Scale, one of the early episodes. Hey, Tom, what's going on?
Things are good, man. First episode of, the 20th podcast now.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like the first episodes repeat itself. Yeah, just like with software development. Maybe real quick before we have a couple of questions prepared to each other to check on the marketing side and the engineering side. But maybe first, because we just had one of the first good reviews of our software.
After what,
I feel like the first time actually something works. Yeah, it's been 6 months, and now something works. So how was that for you? The review?
I was quiet because it was good. Like it took me a while to kind of have it soak in. That stuff actually looks decent now.
Yeah,
and it was like the first time when I started thinking more about the marketing part and not just like, man, this looks horrible. It doesn't work. Like I'm starting to get to that point where it's like, well, now how do we really take this to market?
Yeah, it's hard to market something where you don't actually know what it is or cannot see it in front of your eyes, right?
Okay, it's easy to market things. It's easy to sell them, but it's super easy to overpromise. Right? Because I have this idea of what, the software should be, that's what most marketers and salespeople do. And then you just sell stuff and people are like, hey, that doesn't work. And that's the development part, right? It's like yeah, but it's super easy to market and sell things, man. It's just that, having something that actually works really well is very difficult to get to.
Yeah. I mean, this is like it's a bit of a new territory for me. I've seen a couple of times that people don't start marketing things until they are somewhat built. And we are kind of, you have been in conversations with people needing a hiring software. But we still haven't run any ads so far on it, right? So when do you think when do you think this will be the point where we're gonna start doing that? What do you think?
I mean, to me, it's pretty simple. As long as we have one case study, which should be you, because like your company hires developers. If you can use this and show a case study, that's enough. That's all we need.
Yeah.
But if the software is like the previous version, so bad you can't even use it, like there's no way we can sell this. I can market it, but people will come in upset. They'll be like, you promised this getting developers. We can't even log into it.
Yeah, we tried that in the last version, and we got developers just giving us feedback. Like, nobody was recording videos. Maybe that was even broken. And, yeah.
No, it's fine. But the thing is, like, if you want me to really go marketing it, it's got to at least work like in one use case, right? We can say, look, like some of the things are still in progress, but if you're looking for a developer that's using Ruby and this and that, it's spot on. Like you can get this one task done, no problem with it. And yeah, of course, like there's going to be features and things we're going to be adding on, but it's got to be like one easy thing that the software can do from start to finish.
Yeah, which I know now is possible. Like now we have a version that does that. We need to deploy it, and then we run the first case.
But I think that's it. Like the one thing, and this is like a counter question, because I don't know the resources we need to use this software, right? Because initially I was thinking, do we go free user or paid trial? But as I was looking at this software more and more, is there a problem with us giving the initial 50 people a lifetime version?
Like a paid lifetime version?
ThriveCard, for example, right? To fund the development. And I mean, they've been funding it for 6 years, so I'm not saying that. That's a bit wild. But to fund it, they sold a whole lifetime version of it for like $400 or $500.
Yeah.
And there's many companies that have done that before switching to monthly or quarterly. Right, but again, I don't know the resources, right? Like one example I can think of, and I don't use them anymore, but Funnelytics, right? Funnelytics was just a company that helped let you design funnels visually on the laptop or whatever, and you could use tracking to see the conversions at every single step of the way.
Mm-hmm.
But their problem was
That's cool.
later on, and they were being assholes, kicking people off the plans, the lifetime plans. You know, when you start running 100,000 pages through their software, the resources just weren't keeping up, and they were losing money so bad they did like everything possible to kick people off the plans. Right?
Yeah.
But again,
that makes
like
sense.
that's how they started. It was like a $400 lifetime, and then they moved to like 50 or 60 monthly. You know, but again, with our software, I don't know what the resources will be for someone. So can we actually pull off a lifetime for the first 50 users?
Yeah. We can calculate that, but for that we would need to know how much is like the average video people record. But we can limit the video. We can say it's like a 5-minute video max, and then technically people could add a lot of questions, have a lot of videos attached to the questions. Yes, we can calculate that. I would need to make a spreadsheet for this. But in general, I would say if someone has a lifetime version, they shouldn't be using it for corporate and run hundreds of people through that. That should be limited to like 10 new applicants per month or something like that, or 20. You know what I mean? Like if someone runs 100 people through it, I don't know. That feels like we should have an upgradable version where people.
Yeah, that's fine. That's why I'm asking, right? Because like, you know, between the free and paid trial, like my instinct is we got to go paid. I see so many software like Calendly that has like hundreds of thousands of users that don't pay anything ever. Right? I don't know what your take on it is, but I think for software, like there should be a paid trial, maybe even $1, but you gotta pay something to get in, and then you know it's for like a week or two. But you know that.
I mean, what do you gotta think? I get that, but we gotta. What's something we haven't even thought about yet is that once someone uses that software and invites developers, that's technically data we have. That's more learning in the platform, right? So could we maybe say, okay, as long as you're getting people on it, it's fine, it's free, but then certain analytics or certain evaluations of the candidates, there need to be a paid feature behind it.
Look, I'm open to all of it. I just curious about it. Because we have this thing between free, paid, and lifetime, right? You know, and then like a paid trial to quarterly, or do we, you know, give lifetime initially? You know, that's a big marketing question too. You know, depending on how to market it.
What we could also do is we could give people like the first ones. We tell them you pay a certain price, and then you get 100 applicants, and you can use them whenever you want. Once that person exceeds those, then we get him on another plan. Would that work?
I mean,
that could be an offer.
Like buying this software, right? So
yeah, for sure, I would need that. Yeah.
So for me, it's more like just gotta talk to customers, you know, because I don't know. Like I don't really hire developers, so hard to tell.
What if you would hire SEO people through this? What would you pay for it?
I would probably want a monthly plan, like Online Jobs PH, where I can quickly get, because I'm only looking for one person. You know, like usually SaaS companies and yourself, you're looking for developers all the time. With me, I just need an SEO employee, and then, you know, it's a little different. Like there's not such a big turnover, and you know, but I would still want like a monthly option where, you know, I can, if I find them in a month, I'll use it for a month. If 2 months, you know, 3 maybe. But it's just because I'm looking for an employee, right? SEOs don't really look for like 50 SEOs all the time. You know?
Yeah. So how about we do that? We say it's a monthly plan where we start with that, and we can give you a trial. And if you want to pay nothing, like if you want to downgrade to 0, you have to delete all your applicants, because then we can assume that you hired someone already. So you need to make a decision. And once they delete everything, they can just pause the software basically, or like freeze them. Then they cannot access them anymore, or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, we gotta talk about that more. But I do think,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe a
All right.
monthly thing. I was just wondering about the lifetime. The whole time I was looking at the demo today, I was like, can we pull off a lifetime for the first like 20 users, 30 users? Is it possible?
Mm.
Or if we ever want to, let's say, throw in like 30 or 40 of these on like AppSumo, is it possible? Like, I mean, we got to do restrictions because all the lifetimes give restrictions on those too. But it's like,
Yeah.
you know, what would those be? We have to calculate like the cost per user, I think, per like applicant somehow and figure it out.
We should do, yeah. Okay, let's make some suggestions and then talk about them next week. Okay, shall we go through the other questions we have? Because we have a bit of a sheet here. Okay, so maybe from my side, because that was from you. What about the landing page? Right now we do have a landing page, but it's not that great yet. I would say there's nothing really on it.
Landing page yet.
If you
We
go
had
on.
the landing page for a different idea we had before. This is not the landing page for the software yet.
Right.
Well, like ideally, landing page will go through 4 different steps, right?
Mhm.
Initially, developers give all the input. Marketers turn that into something usable. As we sell, normally it would be the sales guy, sales team, actually turns what the marketers wrote into a language that the people speak, because you only get that by speaking with customers. And, you know, there's different ways of doing it. You know, it could be through emails, like probing for things, actually getting some people on the phone, different ways of doing it. And then the 4th would be customer service. All the questions that people have and complaints, you either dial down anything that's been overpromised on the sales page, or you create FAQs for all the questions, right? So initially, we'll need input from the developers, you know, probably a video of someone showing quickly what the software does. You know, developer just running through the steps, like, you know, listing all the features and everything that's cool about this, what it can do. Then the marketer will turn that into, you know, features into benefits, benefits into outcomes, outcomes into how it can transform your business, transforming your business into FOMO. You know, if you don't actually get this, you're going to lose out. Like all this stuff the marketer does. As we start selling, the objections and the closing will show us what's missing on the sales page, and then customer service issues will help us dial in, you know, any problem areas on the sales page. So the first 2 steps will be done before it goes public, right? The developers will list all the features, and the marketer will turn them into it, which is me, and we'll have it ready to, you know, so people understand, like, a feature doesn't matter, but if I can turn it into a benefit, people are like, okay, this makes sense for me.
Okay, when do you think we need the landing page then?
I think as long as we could just get the first case study kind of running, so you can sort of maybe yourself do a video like running people through the software and kind of showing them some results maybe. And based on that, and then, like, you know, I'll send you some questions about, like, you know, list out these features and all that stuff, and I'll turn it into a sales. So as soon as we have like a case study and fairly working software done, just, sales page should go up within a couple days.
Okay, makes sense. Cool. What else we got? Do you have the document open?
Like, one question I had, and I think it's just, you know, for other people listening to it too, because I have marketers on my list, and you probably do too. How many months for an average MVP? Because ours is taking 6 months. I've been hearing 3 from a lot of people who do it a lot. I mean, these are like pros though, right?
Yeah.
They can code. They've done it many times. They're like 3 months, you should get it done.
Yeah.
So ours, first software, at least for me, 6 months. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah. Well, I also think it should be 3 months. And the reason for us why it's 6 months, because we had a slightly different, so 2 things. We had a slightly different idea. We wanted to run developer contests for coding. So that took a small turn, I think around September last year, so like 4 months ago, maybe 5. So that was a bit of a slowdown. And the other thing is that we started with a 2 junior developer, who I thought he would, I would still think he's now like lower bound intermediate developer. But the task itself to make a complete project was quite difficult. And now, as we're getting more speed now, because now we have 2 developers and they're both better. So that's quite of a difference. The reason we didn't start with those 2 guys was that they were booked on client projects, so that I didn't have them available for this kind of task, and now they are. So, but I would say in general, yes, 3 months should be the thing. If you cannot make an MVP in 3 months, you're building something too complicated, I would say.
Because the other questions I have are just follow-ups to this one. So we can maybe run through them.
Yeah,
right?
then do the follow-ups. Why not? Yeah,
so
why
the
not?
second one just would be the cost of someone competent, right? Because most people will be going on Upwork.
Yeah.
That I know of, and then there's a lot of nonsense I hear happens on Upwork. Like a developer will take the job from you, then they'll actually take the money, pay someone else less, and it's just there's weird stuff happening there.
Yeah.
But overall, like, what cost would you expect monthly from someone if someone's a marketer or on an agency, they're about to build an app, like, what is it going to cost?
It's a very difficult question. But let's assume there is a team of people working for 3 months. Let's say you get an agency to do that. That agency will charge at least 10 grand per month. So you end up with 30 grand on cost for the MVP. Pretty sure about this. The reason why we're able to do it a bit cheaper is that we use my full-time staff, who I train myself, so you don't need to train them, and who is on a full-time pay. So if you want someone to like jump right now and do the thing for you, you got to pay more. It's like anything. Once you do resource sharing, you pay more. Once you have something that needs something quick, you need to pay more. So if you're able to let's say if you would hire people like I do, you would pay a couple of $1,000 for them. But then you would pay them for a whole year, or ideally forever, because they want to stick to your company and everything. And so that might not be feasible for a company that just needs an MVP in 3 months. So in that case, better go with an agency. I don't know if that answers your question, but I feel like there is a bit more than just the dollar amount that you're spending.
There's a lot more,
something.
but that's what most people are starting with. That's the number, right? People would want to know what's the hourly rate I got to pay someone.
Yeah. Okay, the hourly rate. Let's say even if you outsource, let's say it's $50 to have someone who's knowledgeable, who's able to go right now. If you go for any kind of Western developer, it's okay. 100.
Yeah, because I mean that's what most people will
Something
start
like
with,
that.
right? Then
But
again.
Well, say if you do $50, like a person works 100 hours per month. Let's say freelancer, you're still at 5K.
So then another follow-up question to that, right? Let's say you hire someone $50 or $100. You're like, build this for me. Do they need a PM, or can you just hire a developer? And will the developer figure it out?
Yeah, I have a strong opinion on that one. So basically, you hire a PM if you cannot do the PM work. And a PM is not just, it's someone. So for example, if you have one developer, you don't need one PM to give them the tasks. What you're probably asking is not a PM, but a PO, someone who can actually break down a product into smaller parts and talk to the developer to go through those smaller parts. So for example, if you start with your idea, do you actually have a specification for that idea, or is it something like? And I've actually heard that from people. Just copy that and make it blue. Maybe not make it blue. Just copy that and take out that feature and put in that other feature. Like, people sometimes think making a product is very simple. It's very easy. And then they say, just copy that thing. And normally that doesn't work, because even copying that thing requires a lot of breakdown about the processes in the background. So what you need is someone who can actually design the software for you. And I've seen people who are able to do that themselves, but not everybody can. So not everybody can sit down and with a writing block and just sketch the different layouts, or sketch different UI elements, or sketch a process. That you need a person for. So if you can do it yourself, cool. You can go with one developer. If you cannot do that, you need that person doing that for you. Does it answer your question? Do you know what I mean?
I'll just give
Yeah.
some of my feedback, for someone listening. Like,
Yeah.
by watching this project with you, like, our brains work very differently. And I think it's just because we're in different modes,
maybe
Like,
that's true.
When you're
but
looking...
not think about this. Okay,
Yeah,
no, go
just
ahead.
when you're looking at the same piece of software and demo as me, like, you're looking for things which I would not even glance at. Like, you would be like, does this code work here? Or like, you're looking at the back end of how the computer actually does this stuff, where I'm just like, how do we get this outcome so we can sell it? How do we make this look better so people can use it easier? How do I, set this up so that people don't ask me questions, customer service stuff? Like, very different things, right? I think it would be super difficult for just an agency owner to be able to break stuff down code-wise, like, because the parts, how they go together. For me, a part is like, well, this page should go after this page, because I'm thinking conversions. Like, how do I get people to click over from this page to that? You're thinking of it like, how does it work together, right? It's a very different thinking, right? And then when you put in the code, I'm just like, yeah, but people need to know how to, use this software. So I'm very different. Yeah. I think it's super difficult, man, to just do this without either having experience and maybe having someone like you run them through this a couple times, or just having because we've seen what happens when we left the developers to just do their own thing. Like, we've seen that in December or November.
Yeah.
We were like, dude,
Yeah.
what happened here? Like, they just ran off playing with code, man. I'm just like, this doesn't help anything.
That's true.
So yeah, it answers my question, but I just, personally, man, if you're doing like software, like the first maybe 5, partner with someone else.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, cool.
And then the last follow-up
Let me
is
see
just,
Yeah.
do you think someone needs to know how to code when hiring a developer? And again, the background thinking on this is me speaking with people who do know how to code, and they just want to do outsource stuff because they don't have time for it, and just seeing so many problems come up code related. Either they're like, the code is shit, or I could have done this in 15 minutes, this guy's taking 3 hours, it's not right, or I got to clean it up now, it's going to take me longer to clean up than if I did it myself in the first place. So if these problems are coming up and someone like me who doesn't know how to code hires someone, like, I mean, what do you think?
If you hire a senior developer who has shipped a couple of projects already, you don't know how to code. That person will tell you honestly what it's needed, and that person will tell you this is not a good idea for a good feature because it's too complicated, let's say. If you hire someone who doesn't necessarily, so let's say you hire someone who has, let's say you want to build your own graphic editor, right? For some reason, like a mini Photoshop, which is a huge task. And you hire a junior that would say, "Oh yeah, I have no React. Let me try. It looks doable. Like, give me 5 months, right?" And a senior will tell you, "Yeah, give me 12 months and a team of 5 people." So there's a difference, right? If you hire a senior, you're able to do this without coding yourself. If you hire a junior, you need to fill in this experience gap that arises in there.
So a senior developer, they'll be like $150 an hour?
Yeah, it depends on what language, something like that.
Yeah, so I guess you can just pay your way out of that problem.
Yeah, you should. I mean, I've also seen senior developers screwing that up, but you have a better success rate with that, yeah. And also you need to have someone who cares and really says, hey, it's like going to a doctor who really cares about you. It's like, this doctor tells you, sir, you don't need the surgery. Like, I would like to sell it to you, but you don't need it, right? For example, this is the same situation. Developer might tell you, it's maybe not a good idea for your time to build this thing. Okay, cool. I have one more question to the marketer here. Who should make the landing page, developer or the marketer? Because actually that's what our developers asked me. They're like, the landing page looks so desolate. Shall we just take care of that? And I said, no, leave it to Tom, because Tom is doing the WordPress and he has more control over it. And I would still think this is probably the best use for the time. But what do you
I
think?
think the initial input, like I've told you before, should be done by the developers, right? They the tutorial videos or the taking people to software, listing the features, but that should just be done in a Google Doc, right? And the marketer should take the next version public, and then again, when the sales happen, edit again, customer service goes through, edit again. But the important thing about the developers is they know the software in and out. So they have all the ammo I would need as a marketer to, create the benefits and the outcomes and everything from that, based on what we can do with the software. So they can just list all the cool things that can be done with this, and you can record video questions, and we can do this, and we can do open, all the features that they can think of, because none of that shit's going to sell the software. People will come on and be like, yeah, whatever. It's got to be rephrased, right? But the developers know it. And the thing I don't like about what a lot of marketers do
True, that makes sense.
is they ignore
Yeah.
the developers or they ignore the step before, which is actually super, that's where the gold mine is initially, right? Before you get to talk to customers. But that's the initial goal. These people know everything. For me, we need to pull out everything we can from the development, and then we can use it to market. Yeah. I mean, both are very
Cool,
important.
that makes sense.
Equally, I would say, in the beginning.
True. Okay, cool. Yeah, I think what we are our next steps are quite clear. Good to see some progress, and yeah, next week we probably have something more to share about the state, and then I don't know how many people are listening to this already, but if you have questions to a marketer like Tom, send them over. If you have a question to a developer like me, send them over, and we're gonna discuss them.
Yep.
Cool. That's it. Tom,
Love it.
all good? See you guys. Let me stop this thing.